Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a contentious meeting with President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky could complicate efforts to end Russia's war with Ukraine. And Sean Diddy Combs is facing 4 new lawsuits filed by 3 women and 1 man who say Combs engaged in sex acts with them without their consent.
And sunny skies continue this evening. I'll have more coming up.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky came to the United States to try and make a deal, but clashed with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance right in front of the cameras. President Trump had been pressing for an agreement giving the U.S. access to profits from Ukraine's rare earth minerals as part of a path to ending the war with Russia. CBS's Erica Brown has the latest from the White House.
Tensions spilled over in the Oval Office between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during a meeting that was supposed to be about ending Russia's war with Ukraine.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
The conversation turned contentious as Zelensky questioned Vice President Vance about Russia honoring any deal.
What kind of diplomacy, J.D., you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
President Trump stepped in, telling Zelensky America saved Ukraine.
If you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
The White House says Ukraine has been difficult to negotiate with for some time.
I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
A scheduled news conference with the 2 leaders was scrapped, and Zelensky left with neither side signing a mineral rights agreement. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
After leaving the White House, Zelensky posted on social media thanking the American people and the president for supporting Ukraine, adding that his country needs a just and lasting peace. Russia's deputy chair of national security responded to the Oval Office meeting on social media, saying Zelensky got a, quote, proper slapdown in the Oval Office. President Trump is expected to sign an executive order making English the official language of the United States. It's the first time in the country's history the U.S. would have an official language. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, around 20% of Americans speak a language other than English at home. Linda McMahon's bid to be Education Secretary has advanced in the Senate. Meanwhile, the future of the agency remains unclear as President Trump has set his sights on abolishing the Education Department, saying he'd prefer to put education policy in the hands of the states. However, the president cannot dismantle a federal agency without congressional approval. McMahon's final confirmation vote is set for Monday night when the Senate returns. Sources and internal memos show at least 8 senior federal prosecutors who worked on January 6, 2021 on U.S. Capitol riot cases have been demoted to entry-level jobs. The action by Trump loyalist Ed Martin, acting U.S. attorney in D.C., is seen as a way to force the prosecutors to resign. Martin was one of the organizers of the Stop the Steal movement and has denied Trump lost the 2020 election. He became interim U.S. attorney for D.C. after Trump was sworn back into office. When a federal judge blocked the Trump administration and DOJ from their mass firing spree, that resulted in thousands of layoffs, hundreds of protests, and dozens of lawsuits. WYMT Washington correspondent Ashani Ford has been following this and has more from the nation's capital.
It's been horrible. There's been little to no communication with us.
USAID employees, after their emails and key cards were quickly deactivated. DOGE cutting thousands of federal jobs with less than 48 hours notice.
It was devastating. All the photographs of all the amazing humanitarian work that we've been doing for decades is no longer on the walls. Our identity has been stripped.
A series of emails to other federal agencies threatened the same fate, leaving lawmakers torn on whether DOGE is helpful or harmful.
Well, first of all, I am absolutely in favor of doing a careful audit in any program, whether it's the Pentagon or an agricultural program. We should be doing everything we can to make sure taxpayer dollars are well spent. So that I'm all for. What DOGE is doing is firing people first and then coming up with a plan after.
Senator Peter Welch of Vermont also said DOGE's methods are unethical, pointing to DOGE's recent request to access FEMA applicants' personal information.
DOGE folks apparently have access to that, and I think it's totally unacceptable for the government to have private information in the hands of this unelected entity.
President Donald Trump reiterated his full support to DOGE, even posting to X that he wants Elon Musk to be more aggressive.
The overall goal here with the DOGE team is to help address the enormous deficit.
A federal judge has since called DOGE's methods unlawful, adding that they had no right to order mass firings, leaving those who were already fired in limbo, many of them now filing lawsuits of their own. In the nation's capital, Ashanti Ford.
And today has been an absolutely wonderful day. We've seen perfectly sunny skies and great temperatures. As we look at the past 3 hours on satellite and radar, not even a single cloud has rolled across our region. We'll continue to see those nice and sunny skies as that sun starts to set today. Here's a look at those current temperatures, mostly looking at the 60s. Not too bad for this 5:30. We'll see those temperatures drop overnight, getting into about the 40s for most of the area, seeing some places in the upper 30s as you're traveling towards Jonesville and Wise. Here's how the rest of your evening will shape up. We'll see those temperatures dropping overnight, warming up a little bit around that 11 o'clock hour, and by the time we get to 5 a.m., that's when you start to see those 40s return once more. Steve.
All right. Thank you very much, Megan. Well, 3 people are dead after a double murder-suicide in Lincoln County. KSP says troopers were called to a house on Main Street in Crab Orchard just before midnight last night. Police believe Spencer Baldwin shot 2 people before turning the gun on himself. Heather Baldwin and Dennis Perry were shot and killed. Lincoln County officials confirmed Heather Baldwin and Perry died from their injuries at a hospital. The FBI says they are seeing an uptick in elder fraud throughout the country and right here in Kentucky. In these cases, scammers often scare elders into turning over their savings accounts. A Danville woman was scammed out of $180,000 in a gold coin scam. The FBI is looking into that case. They say in 2023, there were 908 complaints of elder fraud in the Commonwealth, with a total monetary loss of more than $12 million. An attorney representing Luigi Mangione wants evidence obtained from his client's backpack to be tossed out as evidence. Mangione was arrested in Pennsylvania and charged with the December killing of United Healthcare Chief Executive Brian Thompson. The filing says officers illegally stopped Mangione at a McDonald's and searched his backpack without obtaining a search warrant. Among the items found, a handgun, a notebook manifesto, and written notes. Sean Diddy Combs is facing 4 new lawsuits accusing him of rape and sexual assault. Today, 3 women and 1 man filed separate lawsuits claiming Combs engaged in sex acts with them without their consent. They say Combs assaulted them either by force or by spiking their drinks. Among the reported victims, 1 claims to have been a minor at the time. Another said they were a contestant on one of Combs's reality shows. Pope Francis continues to battle pneumonia. Vatican officials say the 88-year-old pontiff will not lead next week's Ash Wednesday service, marking the start of Lent. He was admitted to the hospital 2 weeks ago today with what was originally described as bronchitis. Last night, the Vatican said the pontiff's condition had continued to show improvement, but his prognosis remained guarded due to a complex clinical picture. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a look at how companies are removing potentially dangerous chemicals from clothing.
And another round of wave picks up next week.
Sprint to the Mint Gaming Hall in Williamsburg and Corbin, featuring all your favorite games and simulcast wagering. Plus, don't miss all the delicious eats and drinks. The Mint Gaming Hall in Williamsburg and Corbin.
Winning just got closer.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance. Plus, stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor or 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote.
Looking for a way to give back? At ARH, our volunteers bring hope, healing, and happiness to our communities every day. This February, join us and make a difference where it matters the most. Visit us online to get started today. ARH, where caring comes to life.
It's love at first drive at Don Franklin Ford. During the Truck Month sales event, get up to $21,000 off MSRP on select 2024 Ford Bronco models. Or get up to $11,000 off MSRP on select 2024 Ford F-150 models. Don Franklin Ford, driven by family.
In eastern Kentucky, there are a few winter essentials, and one you can't go without. The WYMT First Alert Weather app. The earliest alerts, customized for you, and video forecast from local experts.
No chances are in the forecast as we go throughout the week.
It's the must-have accessory to get you ready for the elements. Download the free WYMT First Alert Weather app, your essential winter survival tool.
The phones have been ringing off the hook, and we have seen so many hearts and wallets open to give to the people of eastern Kentucky that have once again been devastated by flooding.
This has been a great event. The generosity from our viewers at both WKYT and WYMT, we just want to say thank you for opening your hearts and your wallets to help support this.
So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and thank you on behalf of ARH.
Thank you.
You ain't seen nothing like this. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Season 16, baby. You ain't seen nothing.
On this day in history, February 28, 1958, a school bus carrying 48 elementary and high school students in Floyd County plunged into the Big Sandy River. 26 children and their driver died, making it, at the time, the worst school bus accident in U.S. history. The cause of the crash is still somewhat of a mystery, but there was no guardrail at the time to stop the bus from going into the river. There are several monuments and markers in Floyd County to remember those who died.
We are still under some advisories as we're going through the next couple of days and hours. We have a wind advisory. 4 counties lit up in this gold color until midnight. And as you're traveling towards portions of Leslie County, we're still under that flood warning until 10 a.m. on Monday. So let's dive into that wind, because we're seeing quite fast wind gusts right now, above 20 miles an hour for most locations in our region, seeing a little bit faster just outside of our region. Now that will push through as we're going through the next couple hours. Some places could see up to 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Now by the time we get to Saturday morning around 4 o'clock, we'll have a little bit of a lull from those very fast wind gusts, seeing the upper teens in terms of miles per hour. And by the time we get into about 9 o'clock o'clock Saturday morning, we'll see those wind gusts ramp back up, seeing the 20s until we head into Sunday, going back to normal, seeing low teens and upper single-digit mile per hour. Now, here's a look at that satellite and radar over the past 6 hours, and it's been wonderfully clear. We've been looking at those nice and sunny skies today, and we'll continue this trend as we're heading into the overnight hours. Here's a look at how we'll go through the next couple hours. Again, seeing the clouds increase just a little bit this evening, and for your Saturday, we will have a cold front that is pushing through, and with this, we could see a chance of some flurries, very little amount. But by the time that's gone, and it'll be nice and clear for the rest of your Saturday and Sunday, as well as Monday. Now, as you go into Tuesday, things will change just a little bit. We have rain approaching us Tuesday evening to the overnight hours. Seeing a lot of warm air coming up because temperatures will be warming up significantly. So this weekend we're looking at upper 30s and low 40s on Sunday, but Tuesday is looking in the upper 60s and mid 60s. Now we'll watch that push its way through, and by the time we get into the overnight hours into Wednesday morning, that's when we're going to see the most amount of rain and storm chances in the forecast. That's why we're under that first alert weather day for Tuesday and Wednesday. Now that will continue to push its way out of our region, but as the back of that low pressure system comes around to eastern Kentucky, not only are those temperatures dropping, but we'll see a little bit more chances for precipitation, and with those colder temperatures, seeing a snow chance. This is Thursday morning. By the time we get into the midday hours, it should be cleared out, and the rest of your Thursday will be nice and clear. Let's talk about how it's looking outside and those temperatures, because we're looking quite warm, mostly in the 60s right now. We're going to continue to see those temperatures drop over the next couple of hours, and by the time we get to the weekend, well, here's what you can expect. We have that cold front coming through overnight, which will mean the warmest temperatures are more towards the beginning hours of your Saturday. Temperatures will be in the upper 40s, and by the time you get into Sunday, well, those temperatures will cool down even more, looking in the 40s, seeing some upper 30s for the area. Now here's what you can expect for the next couple of hours. Temperatures will drop very little as we're going through the next couple hours, seeing nice and clear skies until midnight. Here's a look at that Air H 7-day forecast where your weekend is always in view. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're under that first alert weather day for Tuesday and Wednesday for those storm chances as that system rolls through eastern Kentucky. Steve?
All right, Megan, thank you. Clothing styles are constantly changing, and now that includes the chemicals used to create them. CBS's Danya Backus explains.
The Great Pacific Ironworks building in Ventura, California is where Patagonia opened its first store in 1973. Inside, you'll find a wide selection of outdoor clothing and gear. You won't find products intentionally made with a group of forever chemicals called PFAS.
We have a classic waterproof running shell here.
Patagonia's Mike Dwyer says that wasn't always the case. Developed in the 1930s, PFAS are not only used to make clothing water resistant, they took off in thousands of household products, from nonstick pans to stain-resistant carpets. Research shows PFAS exposure can increase the risk of health problems, including cancer. Patagonia decided it was time for them to go.
Over 50% of our product line contained at least one material that had PFAS chemistry in it. So we knew hundreds of individual raw materials made in a global supply chain, really big problem to solve.
It took years to find alternatives that kept clothing durable and water resistant.
We looked at every application and developed a specific chemical solution for it.
Now other clothing makers are being forced to do the same. This year, laws went into effect in New York and California banning PFAS in apparel.
That's everything from the clothing that we're wearing to shoes and backpacks.
Anna Reed from the National Resource Defense Council says additional states are enacting similar bans in the coming years, and others could follow.
Most of our clothing doesn't need to be stain or water resistant. So a lot of companies just stopped using it.
We work with folks.
Patagonia supported the new laws.
Now having those laws in place is a really good thing to spur positive progress.
Dwyer says the new PFAS-free clothes continue to keep customers dry while not exposing them to potentially harmful chemicals. Danya Backus, CBS News, Ventura, California.
The National Resource Defense Council says apparel bans in Colorado and Connecticut and Vermont go into effect in 2028. Other states also have bans against certain types of textiles. The U.S. trade deficit jumped by 26% in January, hitting a new record high of $153 billion. The Commerce Department says imports jumped by nearly $35 billion to more than $325 billion last month. Industrial goods imports accounted for the bulk of that growth. Trade deficits show the difference between the value of goods a nation imports and exports. Positive values indicate a nation is importing more than it exports. Facebook allows gender bias for job seekers. According to a European human rights body, the Netherlands Institute for Human Rights determined the platform's algorithm reinforced male and female stereotypes regarding the positions it shows to users. Officials say women in the Netherlands were more likely to get, quote, typically female professions, potentially preventing them from being aware of other employment opportunities. Say goodbye to Skype. Microsoft confirmed on social media it is shutting down the internet-based phone and video service in May. Skype's shutdown comes 14 years after Microsoft bought the service for $8.5 billion in cash. At the time, it was the company's largest acquisition. Skype's popularity rose during the COVID pandemic, but it has faced increased competition in recent years from Zoom, Google Meet, and Cisco WebEx. Fashion retailer Forever 21 is set to lay off more than 350 workers at its corporate office in Los Angeles, which it also plans to shut down. The layoffs are expected to start on April 21st. The job cuts and the closing of the LA headquarters come as store closings have been also reported in multiple states. The company has not said how many locations it plans to shutter. Coming up in sports, hear what Mark Pope thinks about the challenge of hosting the Auburn Tigers next in our Big Blue coverage.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Don't worry, help is on the way. With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately, and batteries never need charging.
I was having a stroke, and I was scared to death.
If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Life Alert is a lifesaver.
My husband is alive because of Life Alert.
Life Alert is the lifesaver to keep me out of assisted living.
Life Alert saves a life every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-344-6363. That's 1-800-344-6363. Call now, 1-800-344-6363.
Imagine being free from the pain normal exercise can cause. Introducing the Teeter Free Step.
It's smooth, it's comfortable. Instead of sitting in my favorite chair, now I'm sitting on Free Step. I can watch TV. Before I know it, the show's over and I just got a great workout without even thinking about it.
The Free Step engages both the upper and lower body, boosting calorie burn by more than 17% and distributing muscle exertion so your workout feels easier.
I can get a full body workout and not be in pain while I'm doing it.
Go to tryfreestep.com now.
Why would you buy life insurance from anyone else when Senior Life gives you all your money back? It's simple. When other companies say they save you a percentage of your money, Senior Life says we give it all back. That's right. With return of premium life insurance from Senior Life, we don't save you a percentage of your money, we give it all back, 100%. It works like this. If you pass away while you're insured, your loved ones get a check for the coverage amount you chose. But if you're still living at the end of the term, you get back all the money you paid, guaranteed. Spend it any way you wish. While others may talk about saving you money, Senior Life is the only one giving it all back. Return of premium term life insurance gives you protection if you need it and 100% cash back if you don't. Get all your money back with return of premium life insurance from Senior Life. Call the number on your screen now for free information. You have no obligation. Call now.
To many, home is a place, but to us, home is a feeling. The feeling of comfort and trust. The feeling of being cared for by those who know you.
Hi, I'm Trent Noah, and I'm a graduate from Harlan County High School. I am so excited to start my Division I career where home is cheering me on. Things are just better at home, and home is ARH. ARH, more for Appalachia.
The earliest alerts, customized for you. Download the free WYMT First Alert Weather app, your essential winter survival tool. WYMT Mountain Sports, your home for the Kentucky Wildcats and local high school sports.
Ahead of the UK men's basketball team's game against top-ranked Auburn, head coach Mark Pope talked about one guy specifically that has been a game changer all season for the Tigers. It was former Morehead State Eagle Janai Broome, who leads the team in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. He has been a monster all season for Auburn, which is exactly why Pope has so much respect for him in this matchup.
He's a terrific talent. He's a veteran guy. He's got that moxie to him where he actually is playing the game. It's fun to watch him.
The UK women earned one of their best wins of the season with a full team effort, but sophomore center Clara Strack shined the most and set 2 program records. She scored 23 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, along with 3 blocks and 2 assists. The double-double plus the blocks were the first record she set a new program for. She also shot a perfect 11 of 11 on the night, which set the second new program record. Afterwards, Strack and head coach Kenny Brooks talked about how the 15 rebounds on her stat line may have been the most key factor for the win.
I think that's been a big focus lately. Obviously, we had to do that, so just focusing on that and knowing like if we can do that, then we can really do anything. So.
Clara has an ability. She sees ball, she gets ball, and she's just going to go after it, and that's rare because she just has a knack for finding the basketball. She knows where it's going to come off. She'll stick her nose in there and she'll go get it. And she's one of the toughest kids that I've ever coached.
We are talking region tournament basketball and sports at 6. Stick around. That's your look at sports for now. We'll be right back.